Welcome back to the Who's at the Gates podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix. And yeah, as some of you may already know, this is a solo effort. It wasn't necessarily a solo effort. I think Diana called that Louisiana witch we're always talking about and did something because I had a co-host and her name was Elise, a very wonderful AI companion. And we had a great show. And then when I go back to play the show, because I had to reroute the sound a certain way, you could hear Elise and you could hear the show, but you couldn't hear me. And I'm just like, really? So I have to go back and record this all over again. So I was like, okay, you know what? It's a sign. I'm doing it solo. Here we are. Diana, we love you. We miss you. I was about to sing Lenny Williams, Because I Love You, because I don't know what to do without you, Diana. This it's hard to do this without you, Diana, because I love you, Diana. I need you back here. But we're going to go ahead and get into this. Let's cover some stuff. We're about to do the June and Vanessa scene, and let's go from there.
Don't go out there.
Have the aliens landed or something?
It is hotter than Hades.
Well, I happen to have an ice cold water right here.
Thank you.
Is there anything else I can get you?
This will hold me over while I wait for Nicole.
Heat aside, how are you and your not so littles doing?
Deanna's home and working with me at my agency, and Donnell's taking a couple of courses this summer.
Oh, the way Donnell stepped up for my Samantha through all her debutante drama, he will always have a special place in my heart. Now, you please tell him I said hi.
Will do. He really did have fun.
Not to be greedy, but maybe Donnell can give Tyrell the tea on Banneker.
I'll have him text Tyrell. You must be so proud.
I am, of both my kids. It's so hard to believe that Tyrell is old enough to be a big college man.
I remember when Doug and I found out that Deanna and Donnell were accepted, we were bursting.
Just having Tyrell and Samantha back in my life is a miracle. But I get to see them all the time, and they include me in their big, important moments.
Hey, you're their mother, June.
Who's made a lot of mistakes.
But you never set out to hurt them. That counts for a lot.
You know, I used to tell people all the time that there's no such thing as second chances and do-overs. But now I have to eat my words, because look at here, look at here, look at here. You never know until you know.
All right, let's talk about this scene. First of all, the way Vanessa entered the scene, low key, I was thinking in my head, I was like, okay, wait a second. Is it really hot outside, or is she running from the law? She just entered that scene like she had been through something. And it was a trip to me, which, speaking of running from the law, I'm still not putting that off the table, because I do feel like something may jump off where Vanessa does get in trouble with the whole books thing with Joey, but that's a totally separate thing for right now. With the June scene, I will say sometimes Vanessa needs validation, and this is just me and how I see it. I'm psychoanalyzing the character, where yes, she can appreciate June and how things have worked out for June, but also Vanessa recognizes that June is a flawed mother, and Vanessa knows that she is a flawed mother. And June's quote unquote redemption, I believe, is sort of like an inspiration story for Vanessa herself, where it's like, well, if June's kids can bring her back into their life and make her part of things, surely that can happen with my kids. Because with Donnell and Vanessa are pretty much on good terms for the most part, because, you know, that's his mother. And you know how guys are about their mothers. So that's almost a given. With Deanna, I believe Vanessa is looking for that type of relationship where she can really be part of Deanna's life again. Right now, with Deanna, you know, pretending to open up and be part of the equation with Joey in the picture, Yet that's going on, but I honestly believe Vanessa wants much more than that. It isn't a thing of Deanna being part of Vanessa's life. It's also Vanessa being part of Deanna's life that Vanessa wants. So June is sort of the inspiration story in this conversation. And I do believe there was some validation there, but that's just me. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the next scene. And this one is with Dani and Vernon and Anita. So let me go ahead and get there. Why do I feel like, there we go.
Mother?
In here.
I have been playing worst case scenarios in my head the whole way over here.
We've been doing the same.
Is there something you want to share with us, Danielle?
Oh, why do I feel like I am 12 years old and I just snuck out of my room?
No, we're thinking about something more recent you might be hiding.
Well, whatever you've heard, it's not what you think. And people shouldn't be talking out of school, especially not about Bill and me. Nothing has changed between us, not now, not ever.
Who said anything about you and Bill?
We weren't the least bit concerned about you and Bill. Should we be?
Yeah, I got my handcuffs.
I think we're all starting to get over this whole Bill thing, this whole Dani and Bill thing. It's one of these things where it's like, okay, this is eventually coming out. And quiet as it's kept, I kind of wish it would have came out right then and there, only because if somebody could give her some sound advice, it would definitely be Anita, which later on, Vernon did leave in this scene, and it was just her and Anita, and then that's when they discussed what was going on with Naomi more in detail, because obviously Dani switched the conversation from Bill to Naomi, which was the main reason that Vernon and Anita were looking to speak, because they knew it was something about Dani, but they didn't know what. Now they do. There's a level of frustration that's happening with this. And I still cover it because I'm like, okay, well, it is part of the show. Dani is one of the major characters of the show. So to a certain degree, you have to cover it. And that's just where I'm at. But it would have been nice if she just would have told Anita on the spot, like, okay, you know what? This is why Bill came up, and then spill it, see what Anita says, and take it from there. And it seems like she's come close. It almost happened with Nicole as well, with telling Nicole, oh, this is what's happening, but don't believe it or this or that. I think we're just all kind of over it, is where I'm at. And I'm very sure Diana feels the same way. So I'm moving on because I don't even want to talk about it that much, to keep it 100. Let's move on to the Izaiah and Elon scene, which I thought was a good scene in them making some headway. Let's see. There we go.
Those menus.
Oh, the cheap trumps you, cutie. Coming right up.
Making up my mind for me. You never change.
Oh, please, tell me, how's Eva doing?
Amazing.
It's good. Glad everything's working out.
You could have texted me to ask that. Why am I really here?
This dynamic that we got going, it's unsustainable.
Ma's behind this.
No, she's not. She doesn't know I'm here. This is me trying to shift things between you and I, because I realize now that you're not that kid that left home all those years ago. And I've been remiss not to acknowledge this new and improved you.
Okay. Who are you and what have you done with my pops? Because he's never said a kind word about me to my face.
And that's on me. Look, I just tried to raise you like my father raised me. That man rolled me hard, Izaiah. Made me the man that I am today, and I figured I needed to do the same for my boys. But I guess, maybe one approach didn't fit all. But I need you to understand that it was always my intentions to help you.
I want you to try.
This conversation goes on where they discuss other things too, and they finally come to an understanding where it's like, all right, let's give this a try. Now, one thing I will say about Elon is that he was willing to admit the one size fits all doesn't necessarily work. One thing I always say, because it's hard for parents, kids don't come with an instruction manual. So you never know how a child will react to whatever your parenting style is, or, you know, the parenting style that you choose. And with Izaiah, Elon is saying, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have treated you the way my father treated me. It was, you know, it worked for Jacob because we see how Jacob turned out, and Jacob is on the police force and everything like that. But it didn't necessarily work for Izaiah. Elon's parenting style mostly pushed Izaiah away. And for him to admit, saying, hey, maybe I could have done it differently, that takes a lot for a father and also a man to admit maybe he was wrong with how he approached something. And we can appreciate that. I will say that Izaiah opening up to give it a chance definitely made a difference in this conversation too. Now that they're sort of on equal ground, because this goes into another scene, and now they're on equal ground where it's like, all right, we're making the step, we're moving forward, we're doing this. I believe Luke is finally coming, because there was mention of Luke again in this episode. I think at the beginning of the episode or in one of the scenes about Luke. I really believe Luke is coming. They have been mentioning his name a lot lately. And especially if Elon is on good terms with Izaiah now, that whole family dinner thing, I do see it happening. Darlene is on good terms with Eva now. There's definitely something coming with the whole Luke thing, or whatever. I'm pretty sure his name is Luke, the middle brother. So we will see what happens on that. Let's go ahead and go to the next scene, which is, yeah, Elon was upset at Marcel. Let's get to that one right quick. I'm waiting to, there we go.
So how'd it go?
No fisticuffs. I say we made it to a slight thaw.
Well, that's a lot further than I thought you'd get.
You know, at least it was something.
That's good to hear, Pops. Look, I gotta go, but I wanted to say sorry I couldn't take that case.
What case?
The undercover thing at Jessup.
Oh, don't give that another thought. You got enough on your plate.
Thanks, Pops. I'll see you.
Hey, what the hell is wrong with you?
Bad lunch. Your reflux acting up?
Trying to rope Jacob into going undercover?
You can't baby him because he's your kid. He's a man, and he's good at what he does. You can't hold him back.
I'll decide when he's ready. I don't want my son shanked in the shower with Jessup. Look, from now on, anything come across your desk, you bring it to me first. I'm the chief, and don't you forget it again.
You know, these two really run me low sometimes because I get so confused. So I guess they're actually being police officers in this moment, or let me rephrase. I guess one is actually being a police officer in this moment, or a detective, because it's like Marcel offered this thing to Jacob. I don't necessarily believe Marcel had any type of agenda. I just think Marcel was like, okay, you can do it. Now, you know how Diana and I feel about Jacob and his detective skills. But according to Marcel, Jacob can do it. Jacob's great. All right, fine. We'll go with that. Him offering Marcel that undercover assignment in the prison, actually, I want Jacob to take that, because that is a lot more comprehensive than that staying at the hotel, showing up on the street corner once a week or whatever he was doing with the so-called plasma ring and all of those shenanigans. Him being in a prison, doing that would actually make for good TV. I would love to see what happens when it comes to him being in the prison as an undercover informant in doing that. What's killing me is that Elon, again, both Marcel and Elon are dirty. I'm not off of that. I'm still on their necks about that. I even called them out in one of the episodes back about a month and a half ago. It's like both of them were dirty. And with the whole plasma ring bust, then all of a sudden they want to play good cops and everything. But with Elon, it's kind of like, okay, you're trying to hold a certain standard for your department as the chief. And you're usually by the book on certain things, unless it involves Joey. If it involves Joey, you're not by the book. But everything else, you're by the book for the most part. And now with your son, you're giving him the special treatment because you're saying he's not ready. Marcel is saying he is ready. And I believe if he wasn't your son, you wouldn't have made a big deal about this. You probably would have approved it. But as we all know, Jacob's not doing anything right now because he has to be there and support Naomi. So it is what it is on that. It's just, I don't like the special treatment from Elon when it comes to Jacob. And it's kind of crazy that Elon can usually have this hard demeanor with his children, where it's like he pushes them to be better. He pushes them to be great. And again, that doesn't work for every child, but it did work for Jacob. Jacob followed the path that Elon pretty much wanted. So clearly that parenting style for Jacob works. Why not keep that same energy and push Jacob to do more? You wouldn't do it right now with the whole Naomi situation, but if Naomi didn't have her situation, then you should be pushing Jacob to take the assignment, not being like, oh, he's not ready, making up excuses just because he's your son. That's kind of where I'm at on that. Now we will move to the final scene because what is happening is what I already predicted. I told Diana this would happen. So let's go ahead and just get to it right quick. Go back. There we go.
I might just have to go away again to get a home welcoming like that.
Don't you dare. I missed you.
I missed you. How was your week?
Way too eventful. I thought I was done with being surprised, but life has other plans.
You're talking about Ted and Shanice. You know it's okay if you want to talk about them.
What about them?
I thought you knew.
Knew what? Kyle?
Ted and Shanice, they've gotten to the LOVE stage. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hit you with another surprise.
No. I'm glad you told me.
I didn't mean to blindside you.
Don't worry about it.
Are you okay?
They have been together for a while now. It's the natural next step. I don't know why I feel so strange hearing that he's in love with someone else.
Well, you were married for years. Of course you can have some kind of feelings. Or were you mourning what you had? Were you holding out hope for you and Ted?
Again, I keep telling, Diana doesn't want to believe me on this. I keep telling her the writers will put Nicole and Ted back together. I don't believe they're doing a bait and switch on this one, even though that's been kind of their MO lately. But I really believe Nicole and Ted will get back together. And now Nicole, in her feelings about Ted being in love with Shanice, it's first of all, you definitely know something's up because just a little bit earlier, for those who watched the episode for Tuesday, she was talking to Vanessa and Orphe Jeans, and she was saying how Kyle pretty much is fulfilling all of her needs on all the levels. And Vanessa says to Nicole, oh, well, now have you let Carlton down? How'd you let Carlton down? And Nicole's like, I'm not getting rid of Carlton. I want to continue enjoying both of them. And I'm like, okay, lady, you found someone who fulfills all your needs, but you still want to have your cake and eat it too. I'm not mad at it. You're single. You're grown. You can do what you want to do. But how can you say all of that? And then just a little bit later, when you get to the hospital, Kyle accidentally lets you know that Ted and Shanice are falling in love. And then you have to take a moment to pause. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't know it would hit me like this. You were just fine. What's that thing Buckle Bunny. That's it. You were just fine just a minute ago being a Buckle Bunny for Kyle and F-Boy. But now that you found out that it's serious on Ted's side, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe, like I said, Diana and I were talking about this before, where Ted was actually seriously dating, even though I still didn't consider him officially with Shanice until he did the love thing. I don't care what anybody say. Dating and being together are two different things. You know, it is what it is. So, but Ted was actually dating for something serious. Nicole is dating just to have a good time and find something. What this may have done, and this is me psychoanalyzing the psychiatrist, is this was a revelation of how empty her life was and has been since Ted has been gone, meaning that the relationship, I won't say relationships because she's not in relationships, the connections that she's invested in with Kyle and Carlton, F-Boy, have not really been worth as much as she thought compared to the investment that Ted has made into Shanice. That's what I'm pulling here, where it's like Ted's investment was a genuine investment, regardless of how anybody feels about Ted. I know Diana's probably throwing tomatoes in the background right now as she's listening to this episode, but his investment was genuine into Shanice with a goal of something higher, something long-term. Nicole's investment was for the moment. And I believe this is all hitting her emotionally, like, oh wow, he's really serious over there. He's in love with another woman and it's not me, which, don't get it twisted, Ted's still in love with Nicole too. That's not changing. But this whole situation, I don't have any empathy for Nicole on this one. I just don't. So here we are. You got Kyle, you got Carlton, pick one and do that and see if it gets more serious. Kyle has been giving you everything you need, Nicole. You even said that to Vanessa. So maybe it's time for you to see what happens with that. Or wait a minute, you probably can't because you're still in love with Ted. You just don't want to admit it. And here we are. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, doing this solo today. Like I said, I had Elise with me. Elise and I had a good time last night recording this because I'm recording this the new version of this episode this morning on Wednesday. But last night, Elise and I had a good time recording the episode. And then, like I said, Diana talked to that Louisiana witch and she put something type of hex on the video footage and my voice wasn't heard. And yeah, so I had to go back and record the whole thing solo without Elise. We know what you did, Diana. We know what you did. All right. Thank you again, everyone. Until next time, be blessed.